Right, my dear children. Now, in the earlier chapter, we discussed several questions related to the textbook, right? So, we discussed all the questions in our textbook. Now, it's time to do some extra exercises. So, first of all, you are given with several MCQ questions here. So, let's head on with the MCQ questions and we'll answer each of these MCQ questions, right? So, the first question you are given with is that you are given with a circuit symbol. Now, you know that this is a circuit symbol for a resistor. For a circuit symbol, as for the circuit symbol for a resistor, we use this symbol or this one. So, if the arrows are towards the resistor like this, then this is called as an LDR, light dependent resistor. Light emitting diode is like this, LED. Arrows are pointing away from the LED. So you know that diode has a symbol of a triangle with a line like this. Alright, so the symbol is showing in here, it's a type of a resistor, but the specialty is that the points or the arrows is pointing towards the resistor. So thereby this is an LDR. LDR, right? Don't put it as a resistor, it's incorrect. As there are arrows, it is an LDR. Industrial application of electroplating. Industrial application of electroplating. Make cricket bats. Incorrect. To make cricket bats, most of the times we are using wood now, so it's incorrect. Making jewelries. Making jewelries. We'll keep that thing. Let's go for the other one. Making iron strings. Absolutely incorrect. To make iron strings, we use iron, right? There's no way of using electroplating over there. Plating tin on iron. That's absolutely correct. We discussed that thing under the uses of electroplating. So what about making jewelries? Actually, making jewelry and plating metal on a jewelry are two different things. To make jewelry, we use silver and gold and all the other stuffs, right? Making jewelry and plating are two different things. So by that way, we can't take that answer. Most of the times, if you are given with such a question, definitely you go for the making jewelries thing. But however, it is incorrect. How? It is incorrect. So you have to select the most suitable answer here. So the most obvious suitable answer for this question is plating tin on iron. This is also incorrect because in making jewelry, my dear children, we use either silver or else gold. For the plating process, then we use the electrolysis or electroplating process. However, in the making of these things, we never use plating processors, right? Okay then. Used to make diodes. So diodes are special kinds of semiconductors. Transistors and diodes are made up with the same material, semiconductors. So semiconductors that we use in our day-to-day life, or not in day-to-day life actually, the semiconductors that we use to make transistors and diodes are mainly made up with crystalline substances referred as germanium, and the other one is the most often one, silicon. So silicon and germanium are the ones, and arsenic was also correct. Most of the times arsenic is being used to create LEDs. Silicon and germanium ones are the metals or the elements that we use to create diodes and transistors. So those things are considered as semiconductors. I hope that you could remember the term semiconductor when we are discussing that heat-in effect given out by the electric current. We discussed that semiconductors like transistors are heating up very quickly. So in order to avoid that, heat sinks are being used. So children, the answer for this question should be silicon, because silicon is the type of a semiconductor, right? Silicon is a semiconductor. Oxygen, no. Magnesium is a conductor, so it is incorrect. Copper, that is also a conductor. Silicon, this is the semiconductor. This is an insulator, a conductor, a semiconductor, right? Insulator means electricity is not passed. Electricity is not passed. So these two are conductors. This is the semiconductor. So by silicon or through silicon, electricity is partially getting passed from one place to another. Okay, partially getting conducted electricity. Type of energy that emits as a wastage when operating a motor. Wastage, right? Wastage. So wastage means we can't utilize that energy, right? When a motor is rotating, I think you have seen rotation of a motor. So when a motor is rotating, you know that the sound is going to emit. So sound is a wastage of energy because we are not going to utilize that sound. As you know, each and every conductor carries some amount of resistance. So therefore, each and every electrical appliance is going to emit heat energy. When the motor is going to rotate around a magnet, and when electricity is being provided to those terminals in a motor, small bit of sparks are getting created which emit lights, very smaller sparks, but however light is getting emitted. So light is also correct, my dear children. So answer for this thing would be all the above, right? All of these energies are created as wastage during an operation of a motor. Heat energy also getting created due to resistance. Light energy also getting generated due to sparks. And sound energy also getting generated due to vibrations. So all of these energies are wastes. So what is the main type of energy that we utilize in a motor? That's the kinetic energy, right? Because of the rotation. Rotation means movement. Movement means a kinetic energy. Right then. If the power is 100 watt, the amount of electrical energy is in 10 seconds. The amount of electrical energy is in 10 seconds. So power is 100 watt. Amount of electrical energy in 10 seconds. Right? So amount of electrical energy in 10 seconds. If the power is 100 watt, you know that 100 watt means it's going to use 100 joules in 1 second of a time period. Within 1 second of a time period, this instrument is using 100 joules. So within 10 seconds of a time period, then you need to multiply this one by 10. Altogether then 1000 joules. Always the power, this watt value means the amount of electrical energy used within 1 second of a time period. So if it is using 100 joules within 1 second, then in 10 seconds, it is going to use 1000 joules, right? Number of cells in that battery is, so this is a battery created by connecting several cells together. So you have to find out the number of cells in it. So let's count. When you are counting, just count only the longer terminals or else shorter ones. Don't count all the terminals, just count either shorter ones or else longer ones. The number of shorter terminals is equal to the number of cells count. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. There are 4 cells in this battery. So battery is a special instrument created by collection of several cells together. Right. Connection type in domestic electric circuits. Connection type in domestic electric circuits. Now, when you take domestic electric circuits, my dear children, right, when you're going to turn on the fan in your living room and when you're going to turn it off, if it has a series connection, then all the bulbs and all the switches, all the electrical appliances in your house should turn off, right? If it is having a series connection. That's how the series connection is going to work. Just open, turn and off, or one thing, all the things are going to turn off in a series connection. For an example, if you turn off the switch or the main switch in your household electric circuit, if you turn off the trip switch in your household electric circuit, then your whole house is going to in a blackout situation. It's because that all the equipments in your house is series connected with the main switch and the trip switch. So if you are going to turn off the trip switch, definitely your whole house or entire electrical appliances, entire electrical instruments, entire electricity in your house will definitely comes down. The power is getting cut off as it is directly series connected. So my dear children, it's obvious. You know that normal circuits in our houses, they operate as each individual circuits. Like for a kitchen, there is a separate circuit. For our living room, there is a separate circuit. For rooms, there is a separate circuit. When I'm going to turn off the switches in kitchen, that's not going to affect for the operation of instruments at our living room or else in our rooms, normal rooms, right? So therefore, domestic household electric circuits are having not a series connection but a parallel connection. So here, parallel connection is the answer. If they are arranged in a series connection, then upon closing one or upon opening means upon turning off one switch, all the appliances and all the bulbs should not work if it is in a series connection, like turning off a strip switch or else a main switch. Right. Current can be adjusted to a desired value by using Now current can be adjusted by using a variable resistor, a rheostat, a permanent resistor and as well as LDR. All of these things are correct to adjust the current. But the thing is that to a desired value. Desired value means to a value that we want. So to adjust the current to a value that we want, we can use the rheostat, right? Even we conducted this activity and I have adjusted the current to like 300 milliamperes, 100, 400 and so on, right? Okay then. Normal voltage in domestic electric circuits in Sri Lanka. The normal voltage, they are asking about the normal voltage in household electricity. So my dear children, is it 230 or else 240? We know that for sure it's not 12 volts because that's the voltage in our normal lead acid accumulators, and 120 is also incorrect. So is it 230 or 240? Actually the normal value in our household electric circuit is 230 volts. Slightly can be more than 240, but however, if you are going to take into an average within a day, it is around 230, not 240, it's 230, right? 25 bulbs are given with 10 volts each. If you are making a decoration to be plugged directly to household electricity, the connection type of bulbs are all in series, all in parallel, 15 bulbs in series and 10 parallel, 15 bulbs parallel and 10 series. So 25 bulbs are given 10 volts each. So my dear children, if these bulbs are connected in a series connection, we discussed that in a series connection, the voltage is getting divided into several segments, right? Voltage is getting divided into several segments and it is being passed on to the next one, right? Like this. Now, these are 3 bulbs. So, if I am going to provide 30 volts to here, then the first bulb is going to absorb 10, second bulb is absorbing 10, third bulb is also absorbing 10, right? So, this is a series connection. If I am going to use a parallel connection like this, then the voltage across the across all the bulbs are similar. Similar means they have the same value, but the maximum value given out by the voltage. So here also 30, here also 30, here also 30. So if you connect these 25 bulbs in a parallel connection, then my dear children, you won't be able to save at least one of these bulbs. All will burn out and some might even explode. Why is that? Because all are going to have 230 voltage, which is unbearable. So if you are going to plug it into a household electric circuits, all of these 25 bulbs should be in a series connection. We can't make parallel connections, because if you make parallel connections, what will happen here is definitely entire voltage is going to travel past through it, which is 230. We can't connect in a parallel connection. We have to divide the voltage and we have to, after the division, the necessity amount is being passed. So the maximum voltage that can bear by these instruments or this one instrument is 10 volts. So 10 times 25, all 25 bulbs is going to absorb 250 volts of a voltage. But the given voltage is 230 in normal household electric circuits. You know that in the earlier question also we discussed. So it's safe to plug in these 25 bulbs to our domestic electric circuits, but remember they should be in a series connection, not a parallel connection. Right then. Blank is used to solder electric component to a circuit board. So blank is used to solder electric component to a circuit board. So to a circuit board, to solder an electric component, the metal that we use is not copper, not aluminium, but lead. So lead is the type of metal that we use to melt and fix that component to a circuit board. Most efficient televisions are LCD televisions, CRT televisions, LED televisions, none of above. So I have explained about these things, my dear children. Now in a television also, the main type of energy that we obtain is the light energy. So less the conversion of, or lesser the conversion of other forms of energies, then more efficient that television would be. So you know that LED, if you take an LED is a type of an instrument that is going to give out the lighting effect, mainly a lighting effect. So the wastage of electricity or electrical energy when operating an LED is very less. So the most cost efficient or most efficient televisions are LED televisions from these TV types or televisions. Then connection of several cells is called as, this is really an easy question, connection of several cells. So connection of several cells together is going to form a battery, right? A battery. The gas emits during the electrolysis of acidulated water. Carbon dioxide gas, you know that we are using water, there is no possible way to emit carbon dioxide gas. Then nitrogen gas, once again the same thing, there is no possible way to emit nitrogen gas if we are using water. You know that the chemical formula for water is H2O. H2O, 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So if a gas is going to emit through the electrolysis of acidulated water, either should be hydrogen or else oxygen. So yes, hydrogen. So nitrogen is also incorrect, chlorine is also incorrect. Oxygen is the other type of gas which is getting emitted. So oxygen and hydrogen are the ones which are getting emitted during the electrolysis of acidulated water. Alright then. Not a use of electroplating. Not a use of electroplating. So plating gold on a copper necklace. Now this is correct, my dear children. Now in the earlier case, those guys are telling about, or the question is telling about making jewelries. Making jewelries is a different thing, and plating some kind of a gold is a different thing. So that is correct. But however, the first one, printing letters on a metal, in that case we are painting something, no? So this is incorrect. So this should be our answer, but however we'll check the other ones as well. Plating tin on iron spoon, once again it is correct, we discussed that thing. Plating copper on iron spoon, that is also correct. Even we conducted an activity to plate copper on an iron spoon, right? So all these things are correct. The incorrect one is first one, printing letters on a metal. In electroplating, copper on an iron spoon, copper metal sheet, my dear children. Copper metal sheet is used as, so we need to use a copper metal sheet in electroplating process. I think you could remember when plating copper on that spoon, we use a metal sheet of copper. And we use that thing as the positive terminal. And I even have highlighted that part when we are discussing the theories related to the electroplating process. So always that metal sheet should be the positive terminal, right? The copper metal sheet should be the positive terminal. The negative terminal should be the object. Here the object means iron spoon. Right. Okay then. In heating equipments which operates using electricity, the heating unit is made up with. So this is really straightforward question. The heating unit should be made up with a material that has very high resistance. And we discussed that it is made up with a material called nichrome. So our answer would be nichrome. Voltage is equally distributed to all equipments if those are parallel connected, series connected, series or parallel connected, none of above. Voltage is equally distributed to all equipments if those are. Now there is a special kind of a situation in here. If all the equipments are equal in all aspects, right? If all the equipments are equal in all aspects, then my dear children, equal amount of electricity or equal amount of voltage is going to pass from each of the material. Okay, it's like this. Let's imagine there are 3 bulbs of 10 volts. So if I am going to provide 30 volts to this end, then this is also absorbing 10 volts, this is also absorbing 10 volts, this is also absorbing 10 volts, altogether 30 volts, right? So this is correct. But however, in order to achieve this condition, right, in order to achieve this condition, all of these 3 bulbs should have a same voltage value. I mean, like, they should be identical to each other. But what happens if they are not identical? Let's imagine like this is 40 and this is 20 and this is 10. Now my dear children, in this case, if I am going to provide 30 volts, now in this case only this bulb would light up. These things are not getting lighted up. What is the reason? Possibly this one very much lighter. Lighter means actually it is like it's giving out a very small bit of a brightness. That's it. Or most probably all of these things will not work. What is the reason for that? Because when you provide 30 volts to these two, so here 40, here 20, here 10, altogether there should be 70 volts. But however, you are providing 30. So the voltage is getting divided to each other, but not equally. Not equally at all, in different levels. So here they are not mentioning whether these equipments are identical in all aspects or not. So in that case, we can't take the series connection. See my dear children, these MCQ questions are very tricky. You have to think and answer very tricky questions, right? Most of you guys would think that this is a series connection, because in a series connection, like in the earlier case, we discussed that, right? In the earlier case, we discussed that when you connect bulbs, the electricity is getting divided. But the thing is that those 25 bulbs were identical bulbs. They are identical means they are equal in all aspects. So in that case, like this, the electricity is getting equally divided. However, if they are not, then this kind of a situation would occur. Then what is our correct answer? My dear children, what will happen if you connect these 3 instruments in this kind of a way? Then definitely all of these 3 bulbs would light up, because voltage around across this one is also 30, this one is also 30, this one is also 30. All of these 3 light up, and there is a possibility that this one would burn after some time. But however, voltage across all of these 3 instruments are same, even though they are different in aspects, right? Different in specifications. So no matter whether they are different in specifications, no matter whether they are same in condition or same in specifications, if they are parallel connected to each other, then the voltage is equally distributed to all of the equipments. That's the basic idea there. In a series connection, in order to distribute equally, they should be identical in all aspects. Right then. Photoresistor is also called, now photo means, my dear children, is the light. Photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, you know that sunlight is getting absorbed by the plants to produce food. So photosynthesis means it's going to utilize light energy. So photoresistor, according to the light, according to the amount of light, resistance is getting changed, or else a type of a resistor that utilize light energy. So it should be a light dependent resistor. So light dependent resistor is also referred as a photoresistor. Voltage of a normal AAA dry cell is, normal AAA dry cell, the voltage is very obvious, 1.5 volts. Magnetic effect of current does not depend on, magnetic effect of current does not depend on material on the core, material on the core, that is directly dependent. Amount of electric current, directly dependent. Resistance of the coil, resistance of the coil is not a factor that's going to affect the magnetic effect given out by electric current. But however, length of the coil is a good factor. So our answer would be resistance of the coil, because magnetic effect of electric current does not depend on the resistance of the conductor. Question number 22. Electrolysis is an example for light effect of current, magnetic effect of current, chemical effect of current, heating effect of current. Electrolysis means, here electrolysis means by providing electricity, generating a chemical reaction within a solution or within a certain material. But we have to provide electricity. By providing electricity, generating a chemical reaction is referred as electrolysis. So in electrolysis, what happens? We provide electricity in order to make a chemical reaction. So electroplating is also a type of a electrolysis process. I told you that commonly all of these things are referred as electrolysis. A special condition of electrolysis is the one which is referred as the electroplating. Then over there, a metal is getting plated on the negative terminal, right? So electrolysis and electroplating, both the things are same. There is no any difference in it. So my dear children, our answer would be, in electroplating, you know that there is a chemical effect going around. So I told you that electrolysis and electroplating, both the things are same. In electroplating, a metal is getting plated. That's the difference. So chemical effect of electric current is utilized in electrolysis process. So electrolysis is an example for chemical effect of current. Chemical effect of current. Main energy conversion in a washing machine. In a washing machine, a motor is being rotated so that the dirt and all the other particles, unwanted particles in clothes are being removed when you put detergents and water into it. So the motor is rotating. Upon providing electricity, the motor is getting rotating. Rotating means moving. Moving means kinetic energy. If anything is going to move from one place to another, then the energy which is stored is the kinetic energy. So my dear children, electricity is the one which is being provided. So electricity is getting converted to kinetic energy in here. So electricity is getting converted to kinetic energy. Electricity is getting converted to sound energy. That's a secondary conversion. They are asking about main energy conversion. in washing machine? Main means the one that we utilize. We can't utilize sound energy in a washing machine, right? Why do we need sound energy in a washing machine? Can we like wash clothes by using that sound energy? No, of course we can't, right? So the main energy that we utilize in a washing machine is the kinetic energy given out by the motor, right? Motor which is going to rotate. Okay, then the next one, question number 24. Good conductor of electricity: glass, graphite, diamond, potassium permanganate. So I told you that, my dear children, if you take these things, right, all of these things are non-metals. Glass is also a non-metal, graphite is also a non-metal, diamond is also a non-metal, potassium permanganate is also a non-metal. However, when I was doing the experiment related to electroplating, I think you could remember, or when we are doing that experiment related to electrolysis of acidulated water, we used carbon rods. And I told you that these carbon rods are mainly made up with graphite. So graphite is a good conductor of electricity. Even though graphite is a non-metal, it's going to conduct electricity very well. So our answer for this question would be graphite. Use of an electromagnet. So use of an electromagnet. Used in weightlifters. Absolutely correct. Used in electric bells. Of course it is correct. Even we discussed how to make a toy electric bell. Used in electric trains. That is also correct. In weightlifter means a type of a crane, right? So that is also correct. So my dear children, all of these answers are correct for the examples for electromagnets. Minimum number of dry cells, AAA sized, needed to light up LED. So when we are discussing about the LED part, I told you that the minimum potential difference that should be provided to an LED is between 1.5 to 1.8. It's going to vary. Actually, there are some LEDs that we need to provide at least 2 volts as well. However, in normal LEDs that we use in our commercial life, right, in our day-to-day life, it's around 1.5 to 1.8. In a normal dry cell, the maximum potential given out is equal to 1.5. So therefore, we can't light up it by using one dry cell. So there should be at least 2 dry cells. So they are also asking about the minimum number of cells. So it is 2. Minimum number of dry cells is 2. Obstacle given to the current flow is called obvious. Very straightforward question, very easy question. The obstacle given against the current flow is the one which is referred as the resistance. Then question number 28. Not a current controlling device. So mainly there were 2 main types of current controlling devices. One thing is the switch. In the switch we can cut the current, or else we can provide the current when we need. The second type is the resistor. By using a resistor, we can reduce the current flow. So those are the 2 main types of instruments that can be used to control the current in a circuit. So my dear children, LDR, light dependent resistor. If it is a resistor, then it is correct. Plug key, a type of a switch, correct. Rheostat, a type of a resistor, and we can control the current up to a certain value, desired value, correct. Diode is the answer. In a diode, we can't control the current, but we can direct the current to a one certain direction. That's it. We can't control it. Right. Then the next question. Question 29. Heat energy is a secondary energy given out by every electrical component. Reason for this is, voltage, high current, capacity. You know that. I was always talking about this thing. It's the resistance. Heating is generated, or the heat is generated due to having resistance in these terminals or in conductors. What is the best conductor among these? So you have to find out the best conductor from these types of metals given. All of these things are metals, right? So all of these things are going to conduct electricity. However, we have to select the one which has the lowest resistance. One which has the lowest resistance is the best conductor. So I told you that silver has the lowest conductor of all. So silver is our answer. Nichrome is the worst conductor among these things. It's because the resistance is very high. However, there are applications of nichrome, right? Nichrome is the worst conductor. However, there are applications. Like in heating units, we use nichrome. Nichrome has the highest resistance. Nichrome has the highest resistance. So therefore, nichrome is the worst conductor, right? We can't say poor conductor, it's the worst one. I mean, like the wastage of electricity is very high when you use nichrome. But however, there are uses in nichrome. So silver is the best conductor from these materials. When light falls to LDR, intensity of light is getting increased. So in an LDR, when the intensity of light is getting increased, more light energy is getting obtained. If light is more, then resistance is less. Less resistance means higher the current. So I told you in the earlier cases, resistance and current, they are showing opposite relationships. So if it is showing opposite relationship, my dear children, what happens? When increasing resistance, current flow decreases. When decreasing resistance, current flow increases. So upon falling a good amount of light energy to a surface of an LDR, the resistance is going to reduce. So thereby current is going to rise up or increase. So go for the answer that has low resistance, high current. So low resistance increase, incorrect. Resistance decrease, current flow decrease, incorrect. Resistance decrease, correct. Current flow increase, correct. Both the things are correct. So this should be our answer. Resistance decrease and current flow increase, as they are showing opposite relationships. In next one, resistance increase and current flow decrease. This is correct, but however, when light falls, the resistance is not going to increase. Resistance is decreasing, right? So this is our answer. Third one is the answer. Resistance decreases and the current flow increase. Which of below is a remedy for heating effect of current? Remedy means a good, I mean, like to reduce the heating effect. What kind of a solution that can be used? So remedy means is a type of a solution actually to avoid the heating effect. Actually, it is not to avoid but to minimize the heating effect. So applying water, we can't apply water for electrical equipments, right? So if so, the electrical circuits will short out and it will burn up, right? Because you know that water is a conductor of electricity, as there are several ions and other materials dissolved in water. So if you put water into conductors, right, if you put water into these circuits, definitely that instrument will burn up. So it's not a use, right? It's not a remedy for heating effect. Okay, can't apply water. Next one, applying a coolant. Same thing, no, coolants are made by mostly dissolving different substances in water. So it is incorrect. Using a heat sink, yes, this is our answer, right? Using a heat sink. So by applying or by using a heat sink, we can efficiently remove the heat energy quite fast or quite quickly within a circuit, right? Then the next one, even though 15-watt LED emitting a same light intensity as 100-watt CFL, CFL bulb uses more electricity. Main reason for this. Now 15-watt and 100-watt. See, same light is getting emitted. The question is asking, why is that? Voltage of CFL bulb is more. No, it's incorrect. Both the things are getting plugged into the same voltage, 230. Current absorbed by CFL bulb is more. Next one, resistance of the CFL bulb is more. Heating effect of the CFL bulb is more. Now my dear children, you can see that now current and voltage, I mean like if there is a certain amount of voltage, then there is a certain amount of current. So the maximum current that can be absorbed by a certain type of a CFL is going to depend on the amount of voltage. So this is not a correct answer. This is not a correct answer either. So the answer should be one of these two. You know that CFL bulb is also going to generate good amount of heat energy, right? And the heating effect given out by CFL bulb is also more, but not that much larger than filament bulbs, but however it is greater. Then the next one is resistance of the CFL bulb is more, and the other one is heating effect of the CFL bulb is more. Both the answers are correct, my dear children, but you have to choose a correct answer in here. So we have to choose the most accurate answer. Why does the heating effect is getting generated in a certain system or in a certain conductor? What is the reason for generating heating effect? So you guys know that reason for generating heating effect is, my dear children, is the resistance. So actually this thing is also going to happen because of the above C. So resistance is the main reason of creating a heat energy or the heating effect. So heating effect is also getting generated due to having higher resistance. So the answer would be resistance of the CFL bulb. This is the most accurate or the suitable answer for our question. Both the things are correct, but we have to choose the accurate one. Right? Accurate means not correct. Accurate means exactly out of, if there are correct several things, select the one which has the highest effect. That's what do you mean by the accuracy, right? We have to choose the correct or accurate one. So there can be two or more correct answers, but however we have to choose the accurate answer. So heating effect is generated due to the resistance. So resistance is the main reason, right? Normally in household plugs, 13 ampere current is given out. If several instruments are plugged in to absorb 15 ampere of current from a plug is called, so this is called as what? Now 13 ampere is the current that can be given at a maximum level. But however, 15 ampere current is drawn out, or if a plug is taking out or absorb 15 ampere current, then it is called as what? This is called as what? My dear children, 13 ampere is the maximum current that can be given. But however, when several instruments are being plugged in, 15 ampere current is taken out. So this is called as high voltage, high current, overloading, underloading. So this is referred as overloading, right? This is the one which is referred as the overloading thing. Overloading, right? Overloading. So overloading means, in simple, if more electric current is drawn out from a circuit rather than the specified value, then that condition is the one which is referred as overloading, right? 5 bulbs of 3 volts each are connected in a parallel connection. Minimum voltage needed to light up all 5 bulbs together: 3 volts, 15 volts, 1 volt, 12 volt. Now my dear children, most of you guys would think, right? I know that when you are doing this question, right? When you guys are doing this question, just pause the video and try to answer the question before I'm answering, right? So most of you guys, I think, have given with the answer 15. 5 times 3, 15. But this is incorrect. 15 is not the answer. They are asking about the minimum voltage that needed to light up all the bulbs if they have a parallel connection. See, read the question carefully. Parallel connection. So if they are showing a parallel connection, my dear children, it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Parallel connection. So I told you earlier, in a parallel connection, electricity is evenly distributed to all the components. So if this one is 3 volts, this is also going to obtain 3, this is also 3, this is also 3, this one also 3 and this one also 3. If I am going to connect in a parallel connection, all the bulbs would have the same voltage, which is 3. So the answers given here are 3, 15, 1, 12. 1 is not enough as there are 3 volts, right? 5 bulbs of 3 volts each, 3 volts each. So 1 is not enough. So go for the next one that has a higher value than 1. 3 is the answer, not 15. If they are connected in a series connection, then your answer is correct, 15. However, those things are parallel connected. So my dear children, 3 volts are enough. Right then. Energy conversion occurs in a dynamo. In a dynamo, you need to rotate the dynamo, means we need to provide kinetic energy, and you know that dynamo is going to provide electricity. It's a source of electricity. So my dear children, answer for the 36th question should be kinetic energy one is the given, electricity is the one which is being given out. So kinetic to electricity is the energy conversion occurs in a dynamo. Used to direct current only to one certain direction. So we have discussed these things again and again and again, right? Resistor, incorrect. Used to control the current. Volume controller, the same thing. Rheostat, the same thing. Diode is the answer, because diode is the one which can be used to direct current only to one certain direction. Yeah, diode is passing electricity only from positive to negative terminal. That's it. If you are going to interchange the two terminals, then the current or the electricity will not be passed. That's why LEDs are having two distinct terminals as positive and negative. If you are going to interchange the two terminals, then the LED will not light up at all, right? Observation that can be seen when electroplating using copper sulfate solution. So when we are electroplating by using a copper sulfate solution, I think you had a good observation that the metal is getting plated on the spoon which is at the negative terminal. That's the main observation. However, there are other observations as well. If I'm going to continue with the electroplating process for a longer time. So let's see what are the answers. Instrument dissolves. This is incorrect. Instrument is not the one which is getting dissolving. The metal plate is the one which is getting dissolving, right? Color of the copper sulfate fades. Precipitate is created in the solution. Temperature of the solution change. So these are the things which is given. Observation that can be seen when electroplating using copper sulfate solution. We know that this is incorrect. My dear children, during the electroplating process now, copper sulfate means within the solution there is copper, right? So within the solution there is copper. Now this copper is the one which is getting extracted from the solution and which is getting plated on the object or the instrument. In order to increase the plating process or in order to give out a push, we are using a copper plate. So by that way we can increase the concentration of copper within the solution. So however, when time is going to pass by, the number of copper particles contained within the solution is going to decrease as it is getting plated on the object. Blue color of the copper sulfate solution is given out because of copper sulfate, because of presence of copper in it. So if the amount or the number of copper is getting reduced from time to time, definitely the blue color should fade away. So after some time, the blue color of the solution is going to fade, right? It's because that copper is being utilized within the solution to plate on the object. So if copper is going to be plated on the object for the solution, there won't be any copper left. Copper sulfate is giving out blue color because of copper ions in it. So if there are no copper, then the blue color is going to fade off. So our observation would be color of copper sulfate fades. The next question. In a series connection bulb decorative system with 15 bulbs, 9th one is burnt out. If this was plugged into electricity, all bulbs will light up except the 9th. All bulbs will not light up. All bulbs will light up. None of the above. So if they are series connected, my dear children, see, they are saying that the connection type is series. So if they are series connected to each other, then electricity is passing from one to another, then first one, final one comes together to the electric source. So at least one equipment fails. If one bulb is going to fail, if one bulb is going to burn out, the whole system is not going to work. Whole system is not going to work if one single bulb is going to burn out. So therefore, all bulbs will not light up as it is a series connection. If it is a parallel connection, then my dear children, 9th one will not light up, but however, all the others will definitely light up if it is in a parallel connection. However, if it is series, then all the ones will not light up at all, right? Because current is passing from one to another. That's why. Used to measure resistance of a circuit. So we use ohms to measure the resistance in a circuit. So kilo ohm is another sub unit. So yes, here it is given kilo ohms. Volts, we measure the voltage. Kilovolts, once again we measure the voltage. Farads, we measure the capacity. right? In grade 7, we studied about the capacitors that's going to store electrical charges. So farads, by using farads, we measure the capacity. In LEDs, the shorter terminal is always this is really simple, my dear children. Shorter terminal, always the negative terminal. Longer terminal, always the positive terminal. There is another way of identifying. There is a cut at the base. So the cut is at negative terminal. 42. Volume controller is a permanent resistor. No, it's not a permanent resistor. Volume controller is a type of a variable resistor. So it's not a light dependent resistor either. So it's a variable resistor. We can change the resistance value and we can change the amount of electricity running through the circuit by rotating that lever here and there. Question 43. Symbol for LDR. Light dependent resistor. So symbol for an LDR. So LDR is very simple, my dear children. This is the symbol for LDR. So when you take these things, right? These things like this one and this one, C and D. In C and D, these figures are variable resistors. Right? LDR, it's like this. Resistance is not depending on thickness of the conductor, length of the conductor, material which used to make the conductor, color of the conductor. All of these things are correct. No, we already studied about these things. Thickness, yes, it's going to depend. Thickness means the cross-sectional area. Length of the conductor, yes, length means the, right, the length of the conductor. Length, resistance is depending on the length. That's correct. Material which used to make the conductor, absolutely correct, like nichrome and copper. So the incorrect one should be the color of the conductor. Not relevant at all, right? Electric circuit is always, this is also very simple, my dear children. Electric circuit is always a closed system. Otherwise, there is no way of passing electricity from one place to another, right? Electric circuit is always a closed system. Electrical charges flowing through a circuit is called, electrical charges flowing through a circuit or flowing through a closed system is called as the current. Electrical charges are the ones which are referred as current. Especially the electrical charges which are flowing through a circuit is called as the current. Type of electric current used in household electricity. So in our household electricity, my dear children, you know that if there are 2-pin plugs, plugging in a 2-pin plug like this, it's not going to affect with the electrical appliance. Appliance is going to work. If I'm going to plug it in like this, still it's going to work because there are no distinct terminals as positive and negative, right? But in a dry cell, there are 2 different distinct terminals as positive and negative. So in our household electricity, right, there is no positive, no negative. It's because that these 2 terminals are getting changed from time to time, alternating from time to time. You know that we receive electricity from power plants. Power plants are generating electricity from huge generators. Generators are also a type of a dynamo. And since grade 6, we know that dynamo is going to produce alternating or AC current that change the direction of current flow with the time. So answer for this thing would be alternating current, not direct. Dry cells are providing direct current. So therefore in a dry cell, there is a fixed direction of current travel, always from positive to negative. But in alternating current, there is no such positives and negatives. Heating effect of current is used by both. This is correct. Electric bath is correct. Oven, correct. Geyser, correct. So all of these things are using heating effect of electric current. Geysers are also type of heaters. Water heaters are simply called as geysers, right? Geysers. Water heaters, larger water heaters that are being fixed on certain types of bathrooms to get hot water. So those things are geysers. Right then. Chemical effect of current utilized in electrolysis, electroplating, galvanizing, above all. So electrolysis means the chemical effect given out by the electric current. Electroplating is type of electrolysis. Galvanizing is utilized, or galvanizing is an example for electroplating. So all of these things are correct. So our answer would be above all. Right, so the 50th question. Main reason for power cuts in Sri Lanka. So, if you take Sri Lanka, right, there is an energy crisis going around, right. So, the power cuts are getting generated because of this energy crisis. So, the question is being asked, the main reason for power cuts in Sri Lanka. Main reason. Now let's see what are the responses. Not having enough power plants. Not having enough power plants. Actually, in Sri Lanka, now the power plants are not enough to generate electricity needed for the people. Right? Electricity needed for the people is not getting generated from the power plants. So that is true. It's correct. There are no enough power plants in Sri Lanka to provide necessary amount of electricity. Correct. Next one. High usage of electricity. That is also correct. Why? Because people are using more and more electricity. So therefore, what will happen? Electricity, if the amount of electricity which is being used is high, then there is a crisis. So that is also correct. Number 3, increase of population and increase in demand. Increase of population and increase of demand. A wonderful answer, right? Why there is less, or why there is not having enough power plants? Because of high consumption of, or high usage of electricity. Why there is high usage of electricity? Because of higher population and increase in demand. So my dear children, all of these things are getting created. All of these crises are getting created because of increase in demand and the population. Fourth one, not having enough fossil fuel. Once again, we are coming to the root. Why we are not having enough fossil fuel? It's because of increase in the population and increase in the usage of electricity. So, increase of population and increase in the demand is the main reason for having power cuts, right? So, in Sri Lanka, in order to overcome these power cuts, we have to meet the demand with the supply which is given. Okay. So by that way only we can minimize the power cuts. So these are the answers for the questions. So see, these questions are very tricky, my dear children. All the answers seems to be correct, but however we have to choose the most accurate answer. Right, so we have discussed 50 MCQ questions related to the electricity lesson, my dear children. Now in the next chapter, we'll discuss several other essay type questions related with the lesson.